Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. Well, welcome to this episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast. My guest today is Amy Cross. When you go to Amy's website, it says that you probably found her because of her Strawberries in a Jar or her book. Well, I didn't find you that way, Amy. I found you because our Instagram channel, I guess that's the word I'm supposed to use. My daughter, who runs our Instagram channel, put a survey out late in 2022. Who would you like to have us on as a guest on the podcast? Your name was number one on that list. I'd never heard of you. I did a little research. I reached out to your team. We talked back and forth. We dropped the ball. We picked it back up. And now you and I are sitting here. You're in your kitchen. I'm in my office and I'm talking to you. So since my audience wants to hear about you, I'm going to let you tell the audience you. Who are you, Amy?
My name is Amy Cross. I'm in the Western Washington, the wet side of Washington area, and I'm born and raised a Washingtonian. Okay. And I have a blog and an Instagram that started last July 2021, called The Cross Legacy, which is our family motto. I never, ever thought when I started this that just a few days later, pictures of my fridge would make me go viral and change lives all around the world. So I am also known as the Strawberry Lady. I get recognized when I'm out and about. My Strawberries in a Jar hack has been shared well over 18 million times, tagged back to me, and millions more times not tagged back to me for the correct instructions. But people all over the world are starting to recognize the Cross Legacy and Amy Cross as being a produce expert and really being able to teach you how to save money on groceries.
Okay. So I got to ask you, so you said you started this in July of 2021. Most people don't just wake up and go, I'm going to start a blog today and put something out. So what was the motivation for you? What drove you to saying, I'm going to share something with the world?
So I've owned a housekeeping company for 15 years, and it was closed during the pandemic. And we had some life changes that happened, and we were stuck at home like everybody else. And I was having a really, really hard time. I had read 136 books that year. We were in the middle of a kitchen remodel, like all of my hobbies were taken away, like all of the things. And I had this friend for years that kept like, Amy, you have mad skills with produce. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just didn't get it. Mm-hmm. I just didn't realize that so many families threw produce away because that's just not how I'm wired. We use all of the produce that we buy. And so I started answering questions on Facebook groups, in particularly Jordan Page's Shelf Cooking group. And there were so many moms that were scared to go to the grocery store. They were scared to take their kids to the grocery store. They were scared of the prices and the shelves being empty and those kind of things. And I just know how to keep produce fresh longer. I only go grocery shopping once every 3 weeks. I have some medical issues that makes me not want to go to the grocery store so often. And I just started answering questions. It started with blueberries. Somebody was like, oh, I can't get blueberries to last more than 4 days. I'm like, what are you talking about? My blueberries are 4 weeks old in the fridge right now. And they were like, no, they're not. And I'm like, here's a picture. And so Jordan Page, who I've been following for years, like she has millions of followers. She reached out to me and she's like, Amy, you have something here. You need to start your own Instagram. So I started it like July 1st, I ended up taking a blog course that July 1st weekend while my husband was tearing our kitchen apart. On July 3rd, I put up Strawberries in a Jar. It was one of my very first posts. It was just a picture of my fridge. Like it wasn't a big deal. And by October, it had went viral and has totally, completely changed our lives.
So that picture of your fridge, tongue in cheek, but I'm doubting you. Your fridge cannot look like that. No, that's like that photograph. You're in your kitchen. Can I challenge you to turn your camera and show me
Always.
And I'm going to vouch, everyone. I'm going to tell the truth. So she's
So
opening up the left side of her fridge. I am disgusted because it is. You
this
didn't know I was
is what
doing
it
this.
looks
So,
like. This is an avocado that's a month old.
and that's in just a canning jar.
That's in a jar. It's half open. So it's only been open for a couple days. I have another one that's a month old here. So
Okay.
if you keep them in the crisper drawer with a lemon, they're produce buddies and they stay fresher longer. I've been in 9 newspapers around the world because of this.
So okay. So I'm trying to just, since no one's going to see this but me, so I'm going to try to describe this. So the top shelf looks like
there's pomegranates.
Okay. There's pomegranates. There's a half an avocado. I got to say, feel like
There's
I'm looking at
one
a whole.
apple left from this fall that's still there. There's some cranberries from Thanksgiving in a jar.
This looks like something I would see at Whole Foods, everybody. I mean, it's organized. It's neat. And it's organized. We should all be ashamed of our refrigerators.
Oh, here, I got a good one for you. Let me get this up. Let me put this down. Here, these carrots and celery are from November 5th. You can see it even says it right here. Let me
right. So these are everything appears to be in a glass jar. And what you're showing me with the carrots is a glass container with a plastic top that snaps on all 4 sides.
Pyrex container.
Right.
Okay. So these are from November 5th. Listen.
It snapped. I don't know that the audio is going to translate, but yeah, it's crisp. It wasn't rubbery. It was crisp. So first off, I got to tease you because that refrigerator just doesn't look natural. But it's awe-inspiring. So before you did the blog, did your refrigerator look like that?
Yeah, it's looked like that for quite a while.
Wow.
We had littles in our house, foster parents. And when they first came to live with us, they didn't know snacks came from the fridge. They knew Taco Bell and they didn't, it's just this whole different mindset. And we are an allergy family and we're like urban homesteaders and we eat whole foods, so it's a very different mindset for them when they were coming, and they didn't know the names of the produce items. Like when I'm like, oh, do you want strawberries or you want blueberries? And we had a whole bunch that were underfoot at one time.
So they thought that Go-Gurt, they knew strawberry because it was in a Go-Gurt flavor, if you will, not in a
that would even have been a good thing, but it's mostly was chips and granola bars and like those kind of things, like not things that actually came out of the fridge. So I started I've always washed things to make them safe, but when I started putting them in glass pickle jars at the time is when I truly realized that they were lasting so much longer. But I started doing that years ago so I could here, do you want these? They're red. Do you want this red, berry, and so that visual opening up the fridge and being able to entice them to eat a rainbow every day was so important. And then I realized that, not only am I killing off the E. coli mold spores and all those kind of things when I'm washing it, now they're lasting 3 weeks. So I only go to the grocery store once every 3 weeks and we have 0 food waste in our house.
Right. So selfishly, because it's my show and I'm selfish, the avocado thing's got me going. So so you put it in the crisper drawer with a lemon. I've heard that before, but a half an avocado in a glass jar that wasn't brown seems unnatural. What's going on there? Do you have like the science behind it that you can explain?
So for avocados and bananas, so for those 2 items, if you don't believe in buying organic at all, for those 2 items will actually save you money. So for those 2 items, buy them. Normally they come in a ship in a cargo container and they are totally green, have a green banana when it arrives. When they arrive in port, they're sprayed with ethylene, which is a growth hormone, a ripening hormone.
Okay.
So then they get put on a truck and they magically show up at your store and they're perfect, especially think of that perfect banana that you bring home.
Right.
All of a sudden in 2 days, they're black and horrible because that ethylene process, it doesn't know how to slow down once it's sprayed. It entices you to buy it and it's perfect, but it doesn't know how to slow down after it's sprayed. These produce items naturally release ethylene and, at a slower space. And that's what you want you want for your produce items. So for the avocados, if you bring them home, you can't see me doing this, but I always say, try to get it. If you're pinching your finger and your thumb together, that softness that you feel right there,
right,
that's like the perfect ripeness for an avocado. If you can just take an extra second at the store and try to find those perfect ripe ones,
right,
and then bring it home and wash it in the vinegar wash to kill off any mold spores, and put it in the crisper jar with a lemon. The lemon and the avocados are produce buddies, and they keep each other fresher longer. So then they will stay fresh for a month. Lemons will actually stay fresher for like 6 weeks, but they'll stay fresh for a month. And then as you go to cut them, I put them in a a wide mouth pint size canning jar with a metal lid, not a plastic lid, a metal lid. So it's airtight, and it will stay fresh for another almost week. So cut in half. And if you keep the pit and the skin on it, it helps a little bit longer. And apple also stays fresh in the jar like that with the metal lid if it's sliced. So you can cut up half an apple, give it to some toddlers, and not throw away the other half. So it stays fresh for a week.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so you started off by sharing some insights on a Facebook group. An influencer tells you, hey, you need to get something set up for yourself. You start something on Instagram. Your first post is this what has become iconic for you. That's kind of, really when you think about that in and of itself is kind of amazing, that the very first anything is the iconic thing. So strawberries in a jar. Why did you pick that?
Why did I pick it for my first post?
Yeah.
Honestly, my fridge was in the living room. We had no walls in the kitchen. I thought my channel would be more about canning and preserving food and stuff, like making it more shelf stable and those kind of things. And didn't realize that it was just the average family that needed help, not that homesteady niche that I thought I was going to be going into. But I mean, I just was trying to figure out how to write a blog that first weekend. And it's just kind of funny that that's what has ended up changing our lives and having me talk to so many people. But the average family in the United States throws away 40% of the food that they buy. And the World Economic Forum came out to say it was actually 61% globally.
Yeah,
so the problem with our budgets isn't that we're, spending too much at the grocery store necessarily, which we are, but it's when we bring it home and throwing half of that away. Like, it's just crazy to think that most families are throwing away half the food that they buy.
Yeah, it's really disheartening when you say it like that. So the strawberries, I'm going to just keep peeling back the layers of the strawberry here. So the first post, I haven't looked at it. What did you when you shared that very first post, walk me through it. What exactly was that first post?
It's the instructions how to do it properly to make strawberries last for 3 weeks. So it's super important when you're doing it. You set a timer for 2 minutes when you're soaking the strawberries in the vinegar water. So other influencers that have tried to copy me since then will say, put them in the sink for a half an hour or whatever. It will destroy the berries. So strawberries, you set a timer for 2 minutes. You don't walk away. You don't go swap the laundry. You stay there, and then, you drain them and rinse them. But we have all the instructions. We have videos on all of the different platforms for strawberries and raspberries. Raspberries have their own little instructions, but they will last, again, like 2 to 3 weeks.
So if I go to Costco and I buy a tray of raspberries from, why can't I think of the one company that they have raspberries? What?
Justco.
Yeah. The raspberries are year round. So they're being shipped in from the Southern Hemisphere at this time of year. We're obviously not growing raspberries in Washington State at the time we're recording this, January. Are those a raspberry, or is produce from the Southern Hemisphere being treated with different preservatives or inhibitors or enhancers than stuff that's grown locally?
I only buy organic strawberries
at
Costco. They're or berries,
right?
They're on the top of the Dirty 15 always. So yes, other countries have different growing procedures, but it doesn't mean that the United States is the best either.
No. I was just wondering, like for let's say grapes are probably coming in from Chile right now, right? And so they're being shipped a long ways to get to our local Washington State. Insert name of brand here where we don't have a favorite grocery chain. So I'll just say Costco. So I walk into Costco, I go into the produce section of a Costco, and there's a 2-pound tub of grapes. In your opinion, would your cleaning procedures change if you picked up grapes at Costco in January, or if you bought grapes at a local farmer's market in Yakima during season?
No, I still wash them.
Okay.
Either way, because they still come up from a farm. I grew up on a farm. I know things that happen on farms.
Right.
But there's still bugs and dirt. It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily like the pesticides. There's still bugs and dirt. You're still carrying things. There's the mold spores, like especially like people don't wash oranges. They don't think about it to wash oranges because they're taking the peels off of them. Well, at the store or when it's being transported, if there's a moldy one, they just throw it away, but those mold spores are on all the other oranges. And if you don't wash them when you bring them home, then you already are putting those mold spores in your refrigerator and your produce bowl or wherever you're putting them. But, oranges will last for months and months. Well, grapes will last 40 days, but, these items will last for months if you're taking care of them. Now, I totally agree that locally homegrown, like things. I don't buy tomatoes in the wintertime. I don't care where they were grown. I don't buy them in the wintertime. Like fresh things taste better when they're fresh.
Absolutely.
And those kind of things.
But I think many of us have gotten spoiled by, I'm old enough to remember when mandarin oranges, Sumatras, I think is that the correct? Anyway, those were brought into the U.S. For me, growing up in Washington State, at the holiday time as a Christmas treat. Now they're year round.
Well, same with apples. Like the apples that you're buying, like you're, in East Washington, you're in the apple capital of the world.
I'm in the apple capital. Yeah.
When you go to buy apples at the store, you don't think about most of those apples are a year old. They've been in cold storage all year.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's, when you drive around my area, you see those warehouses are massive. It's pretty eye-opening when you drive around the Wenatchee Valley and you see these giant concrete buildings and you're like, those are full of fruit.
Exactly. And people don't have that concept anymore that like the oranges are harvested in December. Pomegranates you saw were in my refrigerator, those are harvested in December. Those are the fruits that we're concentrating on right now. And, we can get these things year round, but people don't really think about where it came from, how long it's been in cold storage. And then they're like, oh, well, once I bring it home, the nutritional value decreases or whatever, because that's what they've been brainwashed to think. It's the same apple, either in my fridge or somebody else's warehouse that has been in cold storage.
Right. It's not, it just, you didn't go pick it off the tree. It's a year old or 6 months or whatever. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the strawberries in a jar because there's one aspect of it that I'm not the man about the kitchen, perplexed by. So you're suggesting washing the strawberries for 2 minutes, not leaving them. But you want to be around the sink, if you will. But you're also saying you're saying vinegar water. And so my knee-jerk reaction to this is, doesn't the vinegar soak into the berry and provide an odd aftertaste?
No, it dissipates. So only 2 minutes. It's a quarter cup to a large bowl of water. And just 2 minutes.
Really?
It dissipates in the water. It goes away. It doesn't smell like vinegar later.
I believe you. You're looking at me and I'm kind of looking at you skeptically. I believe you, but at the same time, I'm perplexed.
Let me talk about the vinegar real quick though, because there's a couple different kinds. In the United States, it's 5% distilled white vinegar that you want. So we have 5% and 7%, which is called cleaning vinegar. That cleaning vinegar is for cleaning your showers and different things. I used to own a housekeeping company. That is not safe for produce. So you want the 5% that you find in like the pickle aisle of the store and not in the laundry detergent aisle of the
So
store.
like the Heinz is kind of the,
exactly.
the one brand that I seem to recall.
And Heinz actually has produce on the label, which, helps. But in Canada, because you might have Canadian followers too, in Canada, all of their vinegar is safe and it's the 5%, and it's just labeled white vinegar. So I get that a lot because we're all around the world like, oh, mine says this. And if you're in Australia, it's 4.5%. So things that I've learned over the last year with a worldwide following. But and then I get people come back sometimes too asking if apple cider vinegar is okay. Right. And it is okay if that's all you have in the house, you can use that, but it is a little bit more expensive. So the next time you go to the store, just pick up 5% distilled white vinegar.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try this. Actually, I still have this thing, but it's funny because bleach water doesn't necessarily leave a bleachy taste on things. So I trust you. So I'd like to ask you the question. Well, okay, I'll ask you this question. When you're shopping for the family, do you shop at one of the major supermarkets?
Yeah. Okay. Well, unless it's the summertime. So if it's the summertime.
So the next time you go grocery shopping,
I normally get most of my berries and grapes from Costco. Okay. And then like pomegranates are in season right now. Those are always from Costco. Okay. And then I shop a lot at Fred Meyer's, which is Kroger in other places of the country. It's kind of my other go-to place all year long. And then when the farmers markets open back up, then
you're starting the farmers markets. Great. So I'm going to arbitrarily paint a scenario. It's Wednesday afternoon. You're going grocery shopping. Okay. You've gone to Costco and you've gone to Fred Meyer. You've got the car with the bags of groceries that you're bringing home. I know that when I go shopping, my wife's going to listen to this and laugh and she'll go, you never go shopping. But I'm going to say that, when I would go grocery shopping, the last thing I wanted to do was anything with all the food I just bought. I'd shove it in the fridge or the freezer, cans or whatever, and just walk away. So one thing about this washing and preservation stuff, like I said, you just come in the house with the bags, and for sake of conversation, it's 3 p.m. How long does it take you on average, to prep the fruits and vegetables that you purchased on an average shopping trip?
So I only go grocery shopping once every 3 weeks. I haven't been to the grocery store since December 5th. So when you think about most people go to the grocery store every day or every 2 days or every 3 days. So over the course of the month, think about how much time I'm saving for one.
Right.
And then
very fair.
I have reflective sympathetic dystrophy, which is similar to somebody that has fibromyalgia. It's not the same thing, but I get fatigued and tired and those kind of things. So coming home from the grocery store, I can be worn out. It can seem daunting, but literally to buy a whole month's worth of groceries and, clean it all because it fills up my whole countertop. It probably takes around 45 minutes. Lately it seems like it takes a little bit longer because we're taking pictures and
talking about making content.
Right. But then it dries for like 3 hours on my counter. And so then I can go, rest and do what I need to do. And then when I come back to put it in the glass jars, my husband's always like, oh, I'll help you. And I'm like, no, that's my favorite part. But to put it into the refrigerator only takes about 15 minutes. So the whole process for a month's worth of grocery shopping takes about an hour.
That's a very reasonable trade-off. That doesn't sound daunting, especially I hadn't given any consideration to the drying time. So I could come home, I could wash everything, lay it out, and then fall down on the couch for a while. And then
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
And then I get a lot like, well, I have kids and they're going to be eating it. Yes, that's great. Like plan ahead for for grocery washing day, produce washing day, that your kids are going to be eating more and more involved that day. That's a great thing. Like,
Yeah.
don't be mad at them. That's a great thing. Thinking that they're excited about that cherry tomato that they might never eat again, or, like pick something red, pick something green, and be excited about that. Have them involved in it.
I'm laughing because, it with many kids, it's hard to get them to eat vegetables. Fruit's easier, I think, but no. So you're mad at little Timmy because he grabbed a cherry tomato off the counter. You're like, really? No, he should be happy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you just have to change your mindset about that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting, because when I think of the avatar of a Washington State home, I think of a tired, stressed out, overworked, but just not, life is, day-to-day life's challenging, and it's challenging for all of us for various reasons. But I think of somebody who's like, I'm so tired. And so they go when they go grocery shopping, they go down the frozen food aisle, they grab stuff and they throw it in the freezer and they microwave it and they eat. And so maybe to some people this sounds extremely daunting, but really when you think about the time savings that this tired, overworked, stressed out person that I'm imagining in my head would have over a month. Yes, you have one day that's probably a whole lot worse than the other 29, 30 days of the month. Not a whole lot worse, but more involved. And then the rest of the month, or at least for 3 weeks in your case, you go to the refrigerator, there's choices. The fact that you're putting everything in glass, and I'm going to find that photograph of your refrigerator and put it in the show notes. I'm just going to steal it without permission, and I'm going to show it. But folks, when you see a refrigerator, it really does look like something that you would see in an IKEA catalog or Whole Foods. Everything's clearly laid out, and it's just, there's no decision fatigue. There's no digging around in the crisper to see what I've got. Oh, limp celery. Yeah, rotted tomato. It's right there. It's accessible, thus saving you a ton of mental fatigue and energy. And those things, I think we all benefit from that.
I get asked all the time, well, where are your leftovers? Well, we eat our leftovers for one.
Right.
Like when I'm planning meals, I'm planning 2 days. Like we're eating our leftovers. We're rotating food out. We're not throwing away a whole bunch of stuff that we were wishful thinking it was going to be in the refrigerator for however amounts of time. But, when I buy lettuce, it's going to last for a month. It's going to stay fresh for a month. When I buy, any kind of produce, I can keep it fresh for weeks. But I mean, one of the things before I learned, which is just funny. Okay, hold on. With the avocados, I started putting them in the drawer together because I thought they looked pretty. Like, some things I just like to be visually appealing and that kind of stuff. I thought they looked pretty in the drawer together. It didn't look so pretty in the other drawer. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't realize until after I did that like, oh, they're lasting longer, kind of thing. I didn't realize that I found this magic trick. I just thought they looked pretty in the same drawer together. But an avocado is something I used to go to the store 3 times a week for.
Right.
And, how often do you go into the store for one item and you walk out pushing a cart full, like wondering what in the heck just happened? And that cart used to be $50. But now how often does somebody go into the grocery store and spend less than $100?
I don't think you're allowed to. I think it's a law that you have to spend $100 to enter into a grocery chain.
Our grocery budget is $135 per person. And right now in our household, we only have 2 people. We are only spending just around $200 a month on groceries, and we're an organic Whole Foods family. Whoa.
Walk me through the day. We're recording this on a Thursday. Yeah. You sound extremely organized. Do you know what your meals are going to be on Friday?
Tomorrow, Friday?
Yes.
I honestly know.
Oh, okay. Well, walk me through a realistic, in your home, what you're going to eat on Friday.
Tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm going to eat tomorrow. If you want me to be really honest, But I could make pizza. I have mozzarella. I have stuff to make pizza dough. I have spaghetti sauce. I have every kind of topping that I would want to make if I wanted to make Friday night pizzas.
Mhm.
That's really easy. I have chicken I could pull out of the freezer and I can make fajitas. Oh, yeah. I just did my inventory in the freezer yesterday, and I have enchilada sauce, peppers and onions, and chipotle sauce that I can make out of the freezer, like super easy. But I batch cook meals, so I only have to cook 2 to 3 times a week. So I
Okay.
have 2 shelves of meals in my freezer that I can pull out
Oh, wow.
today and have defrosted for tomorrow. Because again, I have a health issue that I don't always have good days
Mhm.
day after day.
Right.
And so I try to 1 or 2 days a week, I make something that's bigger that I can then, instead of putting in my refrigerator to die, I put into glass containers and put in the freezer, and
Mhm.
then can pull them out for different
Wow, okay.
days. But we buy our meat once a year. So we
Okay.
have a freezer downstairs for our meat. So
Okay.
our meat is, we have all the meat we need. I just need to
Okay.
pull it out of the freezer.
So you've got it. Okay. Okay. Excellent. That's awesome. Have you always been this organized? As a kid, were you that organized kid in school?
I'm all or nothing. Let's just be honest with that. I am all or nothing.
Because
I am all or nothing. Like you are either super good on something or like, I'm okay with it.
right.
I'm diabetic, so
Okay.
like I'm either super good on my
Okay.
numbers or like, I don't care for the rest of the day. If my naturopath is hearing this, she's going to be freaking out on me.
Oh, well, it's, you
but
know what? I mean, in all fairness, you shouldn't do that. Let's just say that. But I have a feeling that all of us we have our days where we just
right.
kind of
I
mail
mean,
it in.
it's January. Who hasn't made a New Year's resolution?
Absolutely.
And we're filming this on the 5th,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
probably already like, I don't need to do that today.
Yeah, I don't want to.
But,
Why did I say I wanted to do that a week ago? Yeah. Okay.
but being said that, I don't like to meal plan like
Okay.
hardly at all, which people like normally like, oh, you have to meal plan and you have to know exactly what you're going to have. I don't know if I want pizza tomorrow. I don't know if I want chicken tomorrow. I don't know what I want to wear next Tuesday, but I have all of the ingredients in my house that I can make whatever I want.
Okay. Okay. Fair
And
enough.
that's what I teach other families how to do, is
Right.
to have those ingredients so you're not running to the store.
Right.
That you know how to stock a pantry, you know how to stock your freezer, you know how to have those ingredients in your house that, if next Tuesday something sounds good to you, or your kids want something, or your husband wants something, like, you can just make it.
Okay. The strawberries in a jar. We keep going back to the strawberries in a jar because that's where it all began. Strawberries in a jar. You post it in July. In October, it went viral. It's taken off. What's changed in your world since then? And before you answer that, the additional questions that I'll get lumped in there was, were you prepared for it? And is it what you thought it would be?
We still don't know what this is.
Okay.
Let's just start with that.
Okay.
When I started this by November last year on our grandma's 93rd birthday, I started the Cross Legacy like LLC in Washington State, and they listed me as a social media influencer and a media company at the time.
Okay.
And then I was talking about hiring employees. This was last November, and the Washington State had never had a social media influencer hire employees. So they had to have like L&I meetings about me because we didn't know what this was. I still don't know what this is some days, but in January 1st, so we just had our year anniversary, we hired a team, and the team started with just some other moms that needed some help making grocery money, and having a little bit more income in their house. It wasn't where I was like, oh, I need to hire, the special expert kind of thing. Like it was just my friends. It was just moms that needed, some extra work that they could do during nap time. And I was overwhelmed because I literally every single day, I spend at least 4 hours answering questions on Instagram. like people that are asking me questions all over the world. I have a team now, so they can edit things and, all those other things, so I can still connect with people all over the world. That's my calling, is to be able to I truly personally answer every single question that comes through Instagram, like every single one. And then we have YouTube and Facebook and, TikTok and all the different things. But Instagram is like my baby, and I spend 4 hours a day on it every single day. And still cook dinner and still,
and still, and you have, as you've mentioned, there are days when you're not feeling your best, and
I can do that from the couch, which is kind of nice too.
Right, but still, it's still. Yeah. So think about this, going back to July and you post this, how crazy would it have sounded that a year and a half later you've given yourself a full-time job answering basically questions from around the world.
About full-time job, a TEDx speaker, we wrote 2 books now and a course. Like, when you look back of all that's happened this last year, it's amazing. And to know that we are working on something, it's not official yet, but we are working on something that's going to be huge and impacting our local area, with our local food bank, which is going to be a huge thing to help educate families that need it the most. And I feel so blessed every single day that these skills that just really came naturally to me, because we couldn't waste money on groceries. And I grew up on a farm, and I've just kind of honed it over the years to make it perfect, to figure out that perfect recipe to make, berries last longer and stuff. But, that I'm being used in this way, and I can share this calling on my heart with so many people. That's literally wonderful. Around the world.
I got to ask you, you're getting all these questions. You've got to get a handful of questions more often. Like, there's got to be a question or two that rises to the top that's always being asked. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Okay. Over the last year, I've taken videos, and I've shown every single time I went grocery shopping. I've shown every single time, like 2 weeks later, what my fridge looks like. I'm really good about, we have things in our fridge that's like, don't eat these. I need these to show for a video, like normally those carrots from November 5th, we would just have eaten by now, but right. It's pretty impressive to be able to snap them,
Yeah, it is.
But, so I get the question, like, why do you buy so much at one time? Or, they think that it's just for show. But if you really go back and you look at my Instagram for the last year and a half, you will see all of the different live videos, or there's like 235 videos on YouTube of every single time I went grocery shopping, every single time 2 weeks later of my fridge, to really prove to you, like, I really don't go to the grocery store. I really don't.
You didn't know I was going to ask you to show the fridge. So we can just say that, on January 5th, you open the fridge up unannounced, and at that moment in time, there's a beautiful snapshot of organization. So this may be a hard question to answer, but I'll phrase it this way. What do you hope the Cross Legacy will look like 12 and 24 months from now? What's your ambition?
I hope that 12 and 24 months. Okay. Honestly, we have self-funded a lot of the team salary. And I'm not going to lie about it. We really have. We've taken money out of our home equity because we believe in this so much. And we are just on the cusp of like this really becoming something that could change not only our lives, but the whole team's lives. Okay. So I absolutely believe that we are still going to be going strong in 2 years. We are still going to be having a team and growing and all of those kind of things. And the Cross Legacy is not only, sustaining itself, but it is impacting other lives. Okay. So, as a small business owner, I can tell you that weight of the stress is on my shoulders. And, not only for our family, but for all the families that are involved in this. And so, that is a big thing. But I have a book that's a bestseller on Amazon that is only available in Kindle and PDF. Like, I want to see that on bookshelves so bad. Like, it's a best-selling book. We need a publisher. We need it to get it on bookshelves. And, I speak at local groups all the time. Like, I have around 4 speaking appearances a month where I'm talking to groups mostly of moms, and just to be able to travel around the country, around the world, and be able to share this message more, to other people. I have this vision that this is just going to happen.
So currently, when you're doing these speaking engagements, are you doing much traveling outside of our region? Are you just?
Yeah, it's mostly been in Washington so far.
So far in Washington.
A couple of things that are lining up in Texas that we're trying to make them all line up together.
Right.
So I can go stay there for like 2 weeks and do like these 6 events that we're working on down there. But between Western Washington, Eastern Washington, it's mostly in Washington right now.
The nice thing, if you go to Texas for a couple of weeks, your fridge will still look great when you come back.
I know. See, we went away. We were in Eastern Washington for Christmas, and we were gone for 2 weeks and came back, and our fridge was perfect still.
There you go. I still
haven't went to the grocery store.
That's staggering. So you wrote a book. Let's talk about the book. Was it your idea to write a book? Did somebody, once again, did they reach out and say, you need to write a book? What was the motivation to start that process?
I had so many followers. We have probably by the time this airs, we'll have 107,000 followers on Instagram.
Right.
Okay. 107,000 followers. It's just crazy. Like, that's more than like our 3 local towns together. What I mean? It's just crazy. But so the book is called I Bought It, Now What?
I love that title.
You buy it from the grocery store, and now what? So the very first book is the top 25 produce items I was getting asked about all of the time. And each produce item has like a written description. It has like a picture with a recipe card. And then at the back of the book, there's also a graph, like I store this one in water and this one in this kind of container and this one with a paper towel. And it has like this nice little graph.
Okay.
And then the second book that came out was the summer edition of that. So they're both called I Bought It, Now What? The goal is to have a complete edition of that. I have 25 more items that I've been holding back on.
All right.
So there's 50 produce items that are all broken out, exactly how I store them, how long they'll last, and those kind of things. So it's available if you're international. It's available on Kindle through Amazon. And you just look at, Amy Cross or I Bought It, Now What? And they will both show up. But it's available for printable in a PDF on thecrosslegacy.com.
Okay.
So
that's wonderful. So, and you have a course?
Yes, we have a grocery course. It's called The Grocery Solution, where I teach families how to go to the grocery store less and have food security in their homes, which is so important. Like, so many people truly don't know how to cook anymore.
That's very true. All right. Growing up, when you were a little kid, what'd you want to be?
Well, I grew up on a large farm, so it's kind of in my blood, farming and that kind of stuff. But I wanted to be a teacher. And so I have a preschool teaching degree.
Okay.
And I was a teacher years ago. And then I moved into other things as things progressed. And then I became a foster mom and all of those different. I still feel like I use my teaching degree all the time.
Well, you're teaching, you are teaching. Your platform now is just online and global versus a room in a school in a neighborhood. Not that that's bad. Right. But you have a global classroom now that you're impacting.
Kind of fun though. When I was young, like in 7th grade, I met my husband, and I had decided at the time that I was going to marry him too. And we've been married for 25 years. So.
Did he? But when you were 7, did he know this? Did you share this with him?
I kind of, but he wasn't interested in me until senior year.
Until senior year. Okay. And you went to college?
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at?
So I went to Green River and
Okay.
then we moved to WSU. So he finished at WSU.
Okay. Go Huskies. Just kidding. I went to Central. I can pick on either school because I can't, they wouldn't let me in either school. I went to Central. If you said you went to the UW, I'd say go Cougars. I mean, let's be honest about that. So teacher, other career, a cleaning company, and now social media influencer. When we talked yesterday, one of the things that you shared with me that was so, to me, I found fascinating, and I told you about it repeatedly, but so is the idea that you brought on a team, and you reference this even with the state of Washington not knowing what to do with the social media that's going to have employees, but you brought on a team quickly. Mm-hmm. And as you described it to me yesterday, the team was moms, stay-at-home moms, needed extra grocery money and flexible schedules. So many of the influencers that I know hire staff from different parts of the world, and that's fine. No real opinion there. So they hire somebody, say, from the Philippines or from Germany. It doesn't matter. Is your team all local?
We're mostly local.
Okay.
We are all in the United States. We have one that's on the East Coast.
Okay, so you're a U.S. based team. So the Cross Legacy is helping other families in the United States with some economic cash, and they're also learning all your stuff so that hopefully they're implementing it at home. I'd like to see your team's fridges, by the way. I think that's something we should do, is have your team get on the call and show their fridges. I think that would be important. No.
We just had one of them meet with the local newspaper to say how much this has changed their life. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Tacoma News Tribune article from December 12th.
Okay. I'll try to find that and put a link to it in the show notes. That's cool. So your team member was in the paper. What did they say? I haven't read the article. So what did they say? What was the change? How did they phrase the change?
Well, her son runs around saying, he's 3, okay. Runs around saying, strawberries in a jar going to change my life. And he doesn't even know what that means. But he just knows that he has heard his parents say that the Cross Legacy and strawberries in a jar was going to change his life. And for us, when we were talking about it and how it's changing his life, isn't about the grocery money or, having dinner, but the fact that she got to come home and he isn't in daycare. She gets to be a mom. She got to have that, summer with him this summer. She got to spend the holidays with him, and make those magical memories. Like, we are truly transforming families from the bottom up, and we have one other staff member that has health issues that she wouldn't be able to leave the house at all. She can't be around other people. And this is giving her community. This is giving her purpose. And she's amazing. Like,
so if I may ask a very pointed question about that particular staffer, what is that person's role? What are their duties?
She's our back end on our website.
Okay.
All the technical stuff that I don't like to do. Right. She is on there. And the Cross Legacy had bought her a VR headset for Christmas as like a giving thing. So she could go explore other parts of the world or feel like connected with different things. Like she could go hike and explore the mountains or go scuba diving with this VR set.
That's awesome.
But that's like part of our giving philosophy of doing this.
That's a very thoughtful. I mean, that's a very thoughtful and generous gift to give to somebody that doesn't get to go and explore themselves. They get through your generosity and through technology, they get to they get to see more things. Wow. So the team, the course, the books, you've got some merch on your website. I mean, that's all pretty typical. When you're not doing this, what do you like to do for fun? Let's talk about things in Washington State. What do you like to do? What's fun for you?
I love to garden when the weather's nice. So I garden. We have chickens. I preserve food by canning it like my grandma did. So, that is a hobby for me. That is something that is fun for me. We like to go on walks and explore things. We like to go, Eastern Washington to the coast, get away for the weekend, those kind of things.
Where's a great place in Eastern Washington you guys like? You're not going back to Pullman all the time, are you?
We were, but in the next couple months, we're going to Spokane a lot because I have a whole bunch of speaking events over there. But for Christmas, we were just in Cle Elum and Roslyn and got to spend time in a cabin over there in the snow and go snowmobiling and just, just enjoy some quiet family time together, which was really amazing. So, and then we spent New Year's at the Space Needle. So you just never know what you're going to find.
Okay. So you're getting out and you're exploring Washington State. Plug for the show. As I told you, I am a huge fan of coffee. And so I ask everybody this. First off, do you drink coffee?
I do drink coffee.
All right. If you and I were to go to a local coffee shop, 2 questions. You get to pick the shop. Where would we go for a cup of coffee together?
We would go to Anchor House in Buckley.
Anchor House in Buckley. Okay. And what would you order?
What would I order? Well, I would order a caramel latte and then have to check my blood sugar because I try not to order caramel lattes too often. But...
Okay. So is caramel latte the go-to coffee beverage for you?
Yeah. That is my favorite drink. But Anchor House is a business with a mission, and I love it that they are supporting other things with that coffee house. So I try to support them as much as I can.
Awesome. All right. I've never been to that. Not that I've been to every coffee shop in Washington. It certainly seems like it at times, but that may be an aspirational goal for me. My coffee drink of choice is I like black coffee. I'll drink lattes. They're fine. I'll drink, espresso or black coffee. And so I judge a coffee shop not on their, their latte art. It's impressive, but I don't care. I want great brewed, pour over French press type coffee. So not every coffee shop does that.
Well, you would love Anchor House because they know where every single bean came from, and they support their roasters and very ethical and all that.
Right there, and that whole supply chain, in my opinion, needs more people doing that type of thing. All right, so we went and had coffee. Now I'm gonna offer to buy you lunch because you're such a nice person. Where are we gonna go for lunch?
So I would take you down the hill in 410. So just still staying on 410. And we would go to Farm 12 in Puyallup, which again, Farm 12 in Puyallup is a restaurant that is supporting a charity. And that charity is Step by Step, which supports local moms, which is really amazing. They help moms that are at risk, try to help keep their families together. And they do a lot of great things. Someday in my future, I hope the Cross Legacy has a same kind of situation as that, where we can have a restaurant and a venue and a farm that all support other causes. So
I've never heard of Farm 12. Whereabouts in Puyallup is that located?
It's off of River Road and pretty near to 410. So it's kind of newer, Step by Step's been around for over 20 years, but the restaurant part of it is only about 3-ish years old. And then they're opening a child development center and different things too. So I'm kind of trying to piece together where 410 and River Road hits. Near Sumner. So kind of near 167 and 410.
That whole that whole spaghetti nightmare. Okay. All right. And so what would you have for lunch?
Oh, it's farm to table, and their menu changes all the time. So you never know.
You never, and you wouldn't know until you got there using your thing before. So it's not like,
but it's always wonderful. And I have allergies. So it's actually someplace we go to often that I don't get sick after I eat there. So,
oh, well, that's,
so, yeah.
I think I think, for most of us, that's kind of the goal. We don't get sick after we eat there, but for people with sensitivities and allergies, it's more complex than that.
Yeah. No, when they say it's farm to table, it really is, because additives and preservatives do flare my body up, and I don't get sick when I eat there. So
that's wonderful. So
I guess it's not the best plug for them. I don't get sick when I eat there, but no.
I now know how we're going to promote this episode.
Yeah, it's really great. It's really great. But I do have food sensitivities. So
right. So more book. You've got another book in you, you think? You're holding out on some
I have a whole children's book line, like a whole 9-book series. Like, that's ready. So
that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have that. It's sitting in Trello cards. I have the outline, all of the things. We're hoping that we get the I bought it now, like complete guide on storefronts first, and then we can start looking at hiring illustrators and stuff. So, I mean, if any publishers want to but I would love to find a publisher that does cookbook kind of books and children's books. So we can the same publisher.
Same workflow, if you will. Okay.
And interesting enough, my grandmother's cousin was Laurel Ingalls Wilder. And so the idea of like a book can really change your family for generations is something that we think about.
Wow. Okay. Putting you on the spot with first off, what the question I'm about to ask you has no right or wrong answer. So don't overthink it. Your favorite city in Washington State?
Pullman.
Okay. Well, maybe there wasn't one. I'm just kidding. So, all right. So just
Pullman or Sumner, Washington is also pretty amazing, but I love the Main Street, the downtown feel, the, camaraderie with other people is really important to me.
Okay. And Sumner has that. I haven't been to Pullman in so many years. I haven't been to Pullman in so many years. What I remember of Pullman is, I don't remember the downtown. I would go see friends at WSU, so I'd be primarily in campus area. But Sumner has a really nice small town downtown feel to it. It really does.
The weather is totally different on both sides of the state. Yeah. So I would go towards Pullman, which had nicer weather all year long for me.
Right.
But, yeah.
So are you a fan of, are you more of a fan of the heat? Is it the sun and summer weather, or is it that you like harder winters, not the and I kind of joking here.
Interesting enough, I have reflective sympathetic dystrophy, and I live in wet Washington. But the damp days like today, when it's 38 and damp or 48 and damp, these are harder for me than if it's super cold or if it's super hot. So I'd rather have snow or hot than damp.
Okay.
So I always say my heart beats 509, and we will be moving back to Eastern Washington at some point, but it really does affect my pain levels and my energy and stuff.
Well, so. we got snow today. I mean, here I am. Yeah.
We have rain.
Yeah. And honestly, I grew up in the Puyallup area. I was a Tacoma address, but just off of 512 and Canyon Road area. So you know the area. Yeah. I grew up there, went to college in Ellensburg, lived in Seattle for 20 some years, the Seattle area, moved to Tacoma, blah, 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 blah. And in 2017, I was commuting from Puyallup to Olympia every day. Too many taillights, too many windshield wipers, and the gray just seemed to never and I know this isn't fair. Folks, there's going to be somebody's going to say something to me about me being grumpy and negative about Western Washington, and I am, but in all fairness, it just seemed like we never got a run of blue sky. It just always seemed like it's July and it's still overcast. It's still, it's August. It's, we had those 3 days of 100-degree temperature where you want to die because you're not equipped for it. And it just was like, I just didn't want to sit in traffic anymore.
Yeah.
So we moved over here to Wenatchee. And if I'm fair, as I was looking at my phone just a second ago, my phone tells me, and I'm looking outside and I can see, fresh snow, partially cloudy, 34 degrees, and it's a gray sky. It's not a blue sky today. So I didn't succeed completely, but I like the weather here.
Mm-hmm.
The 509 side of the state's weather.
The only thing I would super miss moving that way is not seeing the mountain as much as possible. Like, you don't realize like how many times you look out the window all day long to see, is the mountain out yet? Is it out yet? Like, are we going to see it today? And then you realize like sometimes that I haven't seen it in a month. Like, it's a true thing in Western Washington. Like, if the mountain's out, everybody's in a good mood. And it's because it's, the sky's a little bit clearer and all those kind of things. But we can go a month or we can go 2 months without seeing the mountain that should be out all of our windows. Like,
well, and as you come up 410, as you're heading east on 410, as you're coming up the hill, it's, it feels like you're running into it.
Exactly.
When it's out. It's magnificent. It is. We are, all of us in the state, to have the topography that we have across the entire state is we're all very, very, very blessed to have what we have here across the entire state. I really can't think of there's a place of the state that I think is ugly. Even, and some people would say, the Moses Lake, Ritzville, that flat area, but even that has its charms.
Well, it has harvest season.
Right. It has its charms. I mean, and the Palouse is amazing. Where we live is amazing. Where you're at, you've got Mount Rainier is your neighbor, and that's awesome. So as we wrap this up, I have a couple ending questions for you. The first question is, what didn't I ask you that I should have?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure we didn't overlook something glaringly obvious that I should have asked.
How about, this is just the tip of the iceberg of all the tips I'm going to end up teaching you. So go follow me. Okay,
well, hang on a second. Well, we're going to give you that, and I'm not going to interrupt you because I absolutely want that. But I do have a question. I meant to ask it earlier.
Sure.
So if you go to Costco and you buy salad in a bag, industrial, and I know you're not doing that, but if I were buying lettuce, you're saying wash it, let it dry. Mm-hmm. I want to be a little more lazy. I'm willing to buy it, wash it, let it dry, but I'd like to chop it up so that it's ready for a salad so I can just grab and go type thing. Will that work?
The salad will work if you do it that way, but berries don't.
Berries don't. So berries we have to leave whole.
Yeah, they'll start deteriorating. But like carrots and celery and lettuce, salad basket kind of items, I prep and get ready. And then cucumbers will last for about 10 days after you slice them. Okay. So they all kind of have their shelf life. A shorter
shelf life than if they were whole, but it's still possible. Okay, great. That was meant to ask.
Bagged lettuce is the most recalled produce item, even though it often says it's triple washed. So one, it's going to spoil quicker when you're buying at the store compared to like a whole head of romaine. But I would still wash it when you bring it home because it still has Listeria. It still has E. coli. It still has all those kind of things that it gets recalled for all the time. Right. And if you just spend those few minutes washing it, it's actually safe for your family to eat.
Okay. Actually, I have another question for you that I meant to ask earlier. So you mentioned Costco for some, Kroger brand, Fred Meyer is your, and you can buy produce that, well, they're all going to be Kroger soon. It seems like Safeway and Albertsons are joining Kroger. Right, so anyway, it's all Kroger soon. And then you said during the summer, you go to farmers markets. So a couple questions about farmers markets. Do you have any tips and tricks for somebody who might be intimidated by all the choices that they have at a farmer's market? And second question, do you have in your area, which farmers markets do you like to go to? Because they're all a little different. I mean, they all kind of have their own local. The Puyallup one's different than the Auburn one. It's different than the Renton one. I mean, similar, but they all have a little different stuff. So for you and your family, any preferences on farmers markets? And are there any hidden gems that you might suggest somebody try at a farmer's market?
I just believe in picking things that look appetizing to you.
Okay.
So, if they look pretty, if they look appetizing, if it's something that you're excited about, like pick those items. Don't pick items that you're not excited about.
Okay.
Like that is a big thing. I don't care where you buy it at, like every time I go to a farmer's market, especially the farmer's market, I always try to pick something that's new that I might not know that, like get a dragon fruit, get something different that I wouldn't normally get just to try it out, to see, to have my family experience it. But I love going to the farmers markets, especially when they're the growers. Like when you can see, we picked this morning, or it might not be listed as organic because that government official title is really expensive, but to trust your farmer that they're wanting the best for you, like that's so important to me. Like, so yeah, I love going, which is kind of funny. I'm an introvert. I really don't like talking to strangers very much, but I do like going and talking to the farmers at different markets. I like the one up in Enumclaw. It seems like it has a lot of even people that come over from Eastern Washington, but that they're willing to want to talk about their produce a lot of times. And our Puyallup one is just amazing too. That's available.
The Puyallup market's a great market. Yeah. I haven't been to the Enumclaw one.
Yeah, it's like a Thursday evening one. It's an evening one, which is kind of nice.
Which is kind of nice. Yeah. I mean, Washington State's getting more and more farmers markets all the time, and they're all, maybe not all, but it seems to me like the trend in farmers markets is up. Like it's trending upward. I mean, more and more people are trying to bring things to the marketplace very locally, very hyper local. Maybe you're growing garlic in your backyard and you're selling it at the farmer's market once a season. It's as a starter thing. So I think that's great. Okay. So once again, what should I ask you that I didn't? You don't have to do your promotion thing yet. We're gonna let you close out with that. So, was there any other topic that you would have liked us to talk about?
I'm an allergy family. Like I'm an allergy mama. And so a lot of the recipes on our blog and different things are allergy based, and teaching people how to swap out items. Okay. I remember how scary it was when I first found out that we had allergies in the family. So that's something that I talk about a little bit here and there, but most of our recipes are allergy based and trying to train that. But to really reach out to those, especially moms that are scared when they first get those diagnoses, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to buy at the grocery store, and to give them encouragement. It's not just about produce. It is about batch cooking and, teaching how to have meals all day long.
Okay. So my last question for you today is probably not an appropriate question to ask someone who said they're diabetic, but here we go. Cake or pie, and why?
Pie, because I always have frozen berries in the freezer that I need to use, and I can control the sugar in it.
Fair enough. Amy, thanks so much. But to round this out, where can people find out more about you, about the Cross Legacy? What social platforms do you want them to take a look at? Go for it.
We are the Cross Legacy on all social media. So every single TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you can find me under the Cross Legacy. On Instagram, I am the one that personally answers every comment, every question. So even if you just get a little heart, it means I read it and I acknowledge that I read that comment. So when people are trying to get an answer to a question or something, I am on Instagram every single day. And then we have over 235 videos on YouTube for more instructions. And then we have the crosslegacy.com, and that's where you can buy the book or join the course, or there's weekly blog posts over there too. So the Cross Legacy. I'm Amy Cross and the Cross Legacy.
Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me today and have a conversation. Show the fridge. That was awesome. Your kitchen backdrop it looks like it's a TV set and it's very holiday, but so up over your right shoulder, what's in the cup? Yeah. What's up there? It's,
I can, just like my grandma did.
Okay. So that's all canning.
Yeah. So there's cranberry juice and tomatoes and pickles and mango salsa and beets and carrots and pickles. Oh, there's more pickles. Oh, there's pineapples. See, I have pineapple up there.
Okay.
If I want to make a pizza. Yeah. Green beans. And then I have more in the pantry.
More in the pantry. Okay. No, it's visually, it's a great display. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sitting and talking to me today.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. Glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.